Frederick Douglass was born into slavery in Talbot County, Maryland. He knew neither of the year nor the date he was born, but is estimated to be on 20th of February 1818. His first master was Captain Anthony. A cruel man, he used to tie up Frederick's aunt to a joist and whipped her naked back till she was covered in blood. Killing a slave for any colored person was not a crime back then. He moved to Baltimore, and the wife of his master, Hugh Ode, taught Frederick how to read and write. However, Hugh soon found out what was going on and ordered her to stop. One day, Frederick got hold of a book titled The Columbian Orator, which held powerful anti-slavery statements. It opened Frederick's eyes to the possibility of a world where he was free from slavery. He requested Hugh for the privilege of hiring his time, and after much consideration, Frederick was allowed to find his own employment and paid Hugh a portion of his salary every week. He worked at a shipyard where he not only earned his keep, but also honed his writing skills by practicing on the walls and pavements. Frederick had planned to use that money for his escape. On the 3rd of September 1838, Frederick left for New York, a free state. He wrote his autobiography, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, in 1845.
On December 3, 1847, Frederick started up an abolitionist newspaper, the North Star. While respecting William Lloyd Garrison, founder of another anti-slavery newspaper, The Liberator, he thought that African American authors must have their own paper, as those who suffer injustice are those who must demand redress. The paper was internationally known, with 4,000 readers in the US, Europe, and the West Indies, but was financially unsuccessful. After Frederick mortgaged his own house in order to sustain the paper, the North Star merged with the Liberty Party paper to form the Frederick Douglass paper in 1851. While being a devoted editor of the North Star, Frederick also supported the women's rights movement. In 1848, he was one of the only men to attend the first women's rights convention in Seneca Falls. The North Star even had the slogan, "Right is of no sex, truth is of no color, God is the father of us all, and we are all brethren." He later also published a segment about the convention in the paper. Frederick soon became friends with Elizabeth Cady Stanton, leading figure of the women's rights movement, but later she condemned the 15th Amendment, which gave black men the right to vote, ending the friendship. Frederick supported African American rights, but he continued to support women's rights as well. African American men gained the right to vote in 1870, while women could only do so almost half a century later.
Frederick Douglass was promoted as the President Abraham Lincoln's consultant during the Civil War, so he used his privileges and role to convince the president that slaves should serve the Union forces like the white troops. He also tried to convince them that the abolition of slaves should happen soon. African Americans were willing to fight for the country, and because Frederick was well known by them, they trusted him to change the rules. His efforts were recognized. On January 1st, 1863, Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation freed the slaves to serve as soldiers in the war. Although they could now serve, there was still inequality in terms of pay, but he was also able to address this issue, and in the same year, soldiers were paid equally. This step did not only help the black troops, but it also helped to achieve full citizenship. In 1870s, he moved to Washington, where he edited a newspaper, The New Era. He was then appointed as Marshal in 1877 until 1881 and Recorder of Deeds for the District of Columbia in 1881 until 1886. He then died on the 20th of February, 1895.
Frederick refused to abide to societal expectations and is a shining example today of being your own person and sticking to your own values. Being a journalist sometimes means holding those in authority to account, and that involves fighting against oppressive entities. Furthermore, not only did he speak out for African American rights, but he continued to support the rights of women as well. And this is why we chose him as a journalism idol.